Welcome to the UKOCR Community Podcast, presented by Obstacle Racing Media. Each episode, we'll be talking to race directors, elite runners, weekend warriors, and frankly, anyone else from the UKOCR scene that will talk to us. Here is your host, Alan, aka Muddy Duck.
Anywhere in Chicken Town. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad.
Greetings, everyone. I'm going to keep this short and sweet this morning because I'm still not well. I made up with flu and cold and if I end up coughing, I do apologise. I'm constantly coughing at all times, so I'm going to try and keep it sweet. And not only that reason as well, but I'm still in mourning for yesterday's rugby match. Did you watch it? England, Scotland. Well done, Scotland. You played well again. You seem to always raise it against England, but broke me heart. England's got a lot of work to do. And I also watched the Wales and the Ireland game as well. That was a phenomenal game. I see this year England getting the wooden spoon. The way Wales played and Scotland played and Ireland played, And I haven't seen France game. France is on today as well. But you can never take a lot when they're playing Italy. But the way the three teams played yesterday, those three are all going to be above us. England, wooden spoon maybe. Wooden spoon, who knows? Anyway, I'm not going to talk any longer. I'm going to just get straight on with this episode. If you've seen the notes, you know that today I've got Gavin Hogarth. Gavin runs Fit Body Farm up in Scotland, and he is putting on Tartan Warrior. So we talk everything Tartan Warrior on this, as well as a bit about Gavin. So we talk a little about Gavin to start with. It's all about everything Tartan Warrior, what to expect, how it's going to be run. It's going to be amazing 2 days. It's going to be amazing 2 days for both competitive runners and for fun people as well. It sounds like it's going to be a great day. Great weekend, should I say? Not a great day, a great weekend. So let's fire away. Me, Gavin, talking when I was still not very well, but we did get through nearly an hour. So here we go. I'm not sure how many listeners we're going to get who can actually understand us. Me being from Broad Yorkshire, you being from north of the English border. Do we need a translator, do you think, for some people down south?
Perhaps. I'll do my best. My mother did actually go to elocution lessons when she was younger to learn how to speak properly. So I'll try and mimic my mother and speak as well as possible and not too Scottish.
I'm glad you said the word elocution. I'd have probably said electrocution lessons is what my mother went to. I'm sure she used to do that to me to make my brain a little bit clever. Get this a bit electric on you.
That was probably your Tough Mudder training, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah. She was training me early. I have a story for you. I don't know if I've ever told this story. My first ever job, I worked in a sports shop, and it was my job every morning to go around and turn the strip lights on. So you got strip lights and they have little starter motors on, don't they? I was 16 at the time. I've put my hand in this starter motor. I've twisted it, turned the light on, pulled it out, and the cap's come off the starter motor. Me being oblivious to electricity at this age, I just went and grabbed the piece of the starter motor that was left in there. And I woke up about 20 minutes later, about 40 meters away from where this were.
You actually got knocked out for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, there was. I pulled around. There was everyone's around me, giving me the hands on the chest and everything. It was.
God, talk about learning a lesson the hard way.
It was really a lesson that I never ever touched them again.
My God, I'm surprised you go anywhere near electric shock therapy at Tough Mudder after that experience. You must have a bit of a fear.
I just tried not to do it. I really tried not to do it. Any electricity. But I guess I can never say I ever felt it. You know what I mean? I never felt anything. All I remember is going to reach it and then waking up. So I can't say I felt anything. But yeah, as a kid, you learn silly things like that.
Well, I'm glad you're still here to tell the tale.
Where was your first job?
Oh wow! My first job would probably be, apart from working on my dad's farm, because we had a dairy farm. That's what, well, Fit Body Farm, where my business is. That was a dairy farm, so milking cows, I guess. But my first job out with that was with my uncle's landscape gardening company. So I used to help cut grass and trim and hedge cut, and then also like build patios and walls and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't mind a bit of manual labour.
That must be pretty rewarding, that actually building something. That's one thing I've only ever had one job where I did that, and I ran a gang of lads down out of Worthing laying cables, but we never really built anything. We just relayed the paths. But it must be rewarding actually building something.
I would love to say that I have those construction skills to build these things, but I was more the dog's body. I wouldn't say the muscle, but I basically moved things from A to B to put them into position for other people, the skilled people. I was only 16 or 17 at the time, so I did like to take a bit of pride when I cut grass with a lawnmower, and you could put nice stripes in it. I took a lot of pride in that. So yeah, that was probably more my skill than actually building something.
Did you ever play any practical jokes when you like send you for a long stand or anything like that?
A long stand? Well, actually, I'll tell a quick story. Because it was my uncle's company, my cousin also worked with us, and he was a 6'5" rugby player, big guy, and loved a practical joke. And I was driving one of the ride-on lawnmowers, and it's the kind of grass box in the back, and so I couldn't hear a thing because it was so loud. And he was driving one of the vans, and he drove up behind me with his other rugby mate. They jumped out the van, they lifted me clean off the lawnmower, like while it's still going, and opened the grass basket in the back, pushed me in the grass basket, and then stuffed all the grass down my trousers, and then sped away in the van. So that was a practical joke on me for sure.
Like a hazing.
My cousin did stuff like that all the time. It was wild. So I saw the funny side as I pulled myself out the grass basket with grass all down my, I was going to say crotch there, but yeah, down my crotch.
You can say crotch. You can say anything like that.
Yeah. I've heard people swear on this podcast, so yeah, I'm sure crotch is fine.
Yeah, absolutely fine. I think everyone's heard Michelle Keogh swear on the podcast. She was very much very vocal with those swear words, which we actually love. We don't mind, and we love Michelle. By the way, did you see Michelle this weekend at IROX? She was at IROX.
Oh, was she? I don't know. I was probably a bit tunnel visioned. I tend to when I'm in race mode, I tend to kind of not look left or right too much. So yeah.
But what you do is you actually run up behind people with cameras and then pull tongues out at them. I'm informed on this.
Did you see the footage?
I have seen the footage, yes. I think should we tell our listeners about this?
Yeah, so I don't know if you and I want to tell this story, but so I was doing Hyrox Manchester in the Pro Wave, and Alan was doing it as well at the weekend, and I saw Alan running around the lap, and as I approached behind, I caught up with him, and I could see he had a gimbal, I don't know, a camera. He was pointing it behind himself, obviously picking up some footage, and I kind of stuck my tongue out at the camera. I was up at the camera and sticking my tongue out, and I did give you a pat in the back. So perhaps I don't take it as seriously as you might think, but that was just a momentary lapse of tunnel vision. I went back into race mode after that. So all good fun.
It was good to see at IROX a lot of OCR people out there, and it was good to get a lot of people to talk to me that I didn't even know was going to be there. People do tend to know me in OCR world. Maybe not in the IROX world, but people know me in the OCR world. And it was great to have you there, Linda Johnson, and people coming up to me just randomly. Mark Johnson, Michelle Keogh, people just randomly. Oh, Alan, well done. And that keep it going. And I was like, oh, that's because I was hoping to just go straight under the radar and no one recognised me whatsoever. But no, that didn't happen.
Well, it was a UK HXR T-shirt they gave you away for me as well.
Ian
I
made
don't.
me wear that.
All right. Well, I noticed that straight away. Otherwise, you might have gone under the radar at that point. I might not know because I don't exactly know what you look like from behind.
And I've grown my hair, and I'm growing a beard as well at this moment in time, because all I see is everyone with beards. So I'm like thinking, yeah, I can go a little bit unrecognised at these events at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of folk doing, a lot of OCR people doing the high rocks as well. It's something that's great for me personally. I quite enjoy having something to train for in the winter, which I've not usually in past years. I've just kind of churned out some miles, some easy miles in the kind of off season, and not done that much races. Maybe one or two cross countries, but yeah, it's been great having high rocks to focus on as well.
Does your background involve functional fitness, or is it running? Where does your background in sport come from like that?
No, I guess not really functional fitness. I'm a bit like yourself. I've always been a runner, no matter what sport I've played. Well, it was like I played rugby for a number of years, but like just up to kind of from like really early years, like 6, 7 years old up to 18. And then I've done a bit of athletics on and off. Nothing. I was never like, I wasn't representing my county or country or anything like that at running. I was just a decent runner between 800 meters in the track and then 5Ks and cross countries and stuff. And so yeah, and I've played a lot of sports, but yeah, it's all just been part of what I've done. And I guess in terms of strength side of things, it's I probably started using weights just as a teenager, kind of like 16, 17 years old, probably just like any guy that wants to try and put on a little bit of muscle to look a bit better when they're trying to attract the opposite sex or whatever.
Attracting the ladies with a bit of muscle.
Well, I think, let's be honest with you. If you're a guy who's going on their first holiday abroad as an 18-year-old, you're probably going to be a bit conscious of what you look like, as any girl probably would be as well. So yeah, I probably started using gym stuff from the age of 16, 17, and I've always used weights. I've never been a heavy weightlifter. I don't have like an amazing PB for a deadlift and stuff like that. I'm just pretty solid in that front. So I guess the running's been my main skill or attribute, if you like, and then the strength stuff. It's just been quite easy to adapt. If you're relatively strong, it's pretty easy to be half decent at high rocks if you're also a good runner. So yeah. Guys, I don't have a CrossFit background or anything like that either.
No. Do you think working on a farm, working outside in a physical environment is makes it more adaptable to move into sport? And I say this because speaking to a lot of athletes, I find a lot of people who come from that type of background, not so much farming, but where they've been outside a lot as a youngster, they found it very easy to transition into different sports.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time outside and doing a lot of stuff around the farm, and I didn't mind lifting straw bales and bags of feed and stuff like that. And my job, that's what my dad claims, the job that made me stronger when I was younger was actually scraping up all the cow shit. So that was my job when I was 10 years old, probably from the age of 9 or 10. All the cows would be standing waiting to get milked and doing their business. Obviously, they're standing there for a long time, and that all has to be cleared up and scraped down the slatted tank. So as a 10-year-old, that was my job. That got me £10 a week for doing my 30 minutes of that was my 30 minutes of cardio a day, was scraping the cow shit down the slatted tank. So I think doing these exercises, I guess, probably helped build a basic strength from a younger age, and maybe a slight resilience to being outdoors, getting muddy, and I don't my ideal, not my ideal job, but in terms of switching off, like from daily life, I don't mind if somebody said to me, "There's a load of rocks or bags of feed or whatever. I want you to pick them up, and I want you to carry them from point A to point B, or do stuff with your wheelbarrow, fill up your wheelbarrow to point A to point B." Just mindless tasks like that, I actually quite enjoy, because they're a way to zone out and you're kind of getting a bit of exercise at the same time. I quite enjoy stuff like that doesn't require too much creativity out with my workplace, you know.
And I get that, and we talked slightly off air because we were waiting for something on my computer to download from Swift Half, and we talked to her, and I was saying I like to go running early in the morning with my headset on, and I like to go running the night in the dark on trails where there's nothing going to stop me from just running and zoning out. I like that. I like all that zoning out and forgetting things for a while.
Yeah, you need it when you're as busy as I imagine you. I mean, I'm pretty busy with a young family as well, and business, and I can't imagine how busy you are. You're everywhere, and you're always on your podcast, and you've obviously got a job as well. I just don't know how you fit it all in. So I think you need those times where you can just completely zone out, and it allows you to function better at the busy times if you've got those off times as well. I think it's a necessity, big time.
It's that balance, isn't it? It's a balance, isn't it? So where did Fit Body Farm come from? Because you said earlier on that, it's now based where the dairy farm. What happened to the cows, first of all? What happened to them? Don't tell me they went to, I've got them in my freezer on a steak sandwich or something like that.
They went to a better place. They got sold. I don't know what happened to them after that. They may well have gone on to milk and give birth to lots of calves and stuff and have a wonderful life. I couldn't tell you. They got sold. My dad was at an age of wanting to stop farming. I wasn't particularly keen on becoming a farmer. I didn't have a lot of farmers' sons have probably been driving tractors and milking cows since the age of 12. I'd gone away to university and done other things, and I didn't really have probably the skill set of some farmers' sons, I guess. Right. I didn't really want to go down that route. My brother certainly didn't. He was away, moved down south, doing another job. So anyway, that meant it was time to stop farming, and that's what happened. And that was quite close to the beginning of Fit Body Farm. Like I'd always been interested in fitness. I'd always loved sport. I started teaching just like a circuit training class out at the farm, just on my parents' lawn in the summer.
Wow.
I started really basic, no very little equipment, either on the grass or press ups in the puddles. Didn't have an indoor area, and then one of the sheds in the farm became available, and we moved indoors. This is all like about 11 years ago now, and just the circuit training classes then became Fit Body Farm, like where I gave like a proper name, a proper program behind it. It was all in those days, and it still is a big part of what we do, is like helping people get in better shape, lose weight, feel better, look better, transformations, these types of things. That's where it all started for us, and then having done that, and we still do a lot of that, we've kind of grown, I guess, branches from the tree, and we started doing OCR. I think we did our first kind of OCR session up at the farm back in 2016. I'd started becoming into myself. I'd done a couple of races back then, so I kind of wanted to bring it to the farm. And it was just very basic obstacles at first we had. It was literally just climbing over a straw bale, or flipping tires. And I think we got a wall built and a set of monkey bars. That was it. And from there we just,
that was a staple diet though, wasn't it? That was a staple diet of an OCR back in 2013. It was monkey bars, some ladders hung from a tree, and a couple of walls, and everyone thought they had an OCR.
Yeah, that was more or less it. There wasn't a great deal to it, but people loved it. I've still got photographs, which I actually shared on Facebook not that long ago. It was on my Facebook memories. It was photographs of our first ever OCR session at the farm, and it was in January, and there was snow on the ground. I remember it still. It was so slippy. We had to throw down loads of salt to melt some of the ice. But I had 30 people turn up, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. And then it just grew from there in terms of the numbers of obstacles. So we're probably sitting in over 100 obstacles now. And then we started doing kids coaching and summer camps, Easter camps. We've had Rumble Fitness up for a training camp as well, which something we'd like to do in the future is probably, I mean, try to fit everything in, but do training camps where groups can come to us and spend like 3 nights, 4 days, type thing. Rumble came up in the summer, and they actually camped on the lawn.
Yeah.
And we put them up, and we got a chef in, and we did all the food for them. We put on training sessions and challenges. We kind of did stuff like Rumble versus Fit Body Farm type thing. We took them away for a trip up one of the like Monroes, and did some kind of local trips and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd love to do more stuff like that. It just, I guess, it commits you at the weekends a lot more, and I already do a lot of racing and stuff. So my wife is getting that balance, like you say, having a young family. It's like, well, there's so many things you could do. It's just actually being able to do them. So I try to just think of like not trying to do everything at once, but maybe like every year try and do like one kind of major thing, or one thing that pushes the Fit Body Farm forwards. And I guess that maybe leads on to what we're going to talk about as well, is the kind of Tartan Warrior this year. That's my big thing. So I'm trying not to get too distracted by taking on anything else.
Yeah. I mean, we're all looking for Tartan Warrior, but I mean, let's go back just a little before we come to Tartan Warrior. Last year, fourth place in the UKOCR series. You must have travelled the furthest of every competitor in the UKOCR series.
Yeah, I think myself and Karen McQuarrie probably did a fair amount of travelling. So yeah, as a lot of people have said in the past, a lot of the big races, if you want to be competitive and race against competitive people, you have to travel a lot of the time, and that does mean the south of England a lot of the time. Well, I did do like Born Survivor in the north as well. Yeah, the UK OCR series is a brilliant addition to the calendar, and obviously delighted that we're getting the Scottish series now. So this year I've got it in my diary, so I'm going to try and still do both series. I still want to do the UK OCR series as well. Because the strength of athlete at these races is really high. So it can only be a good thing. But I want to do the Scottish one as well. So unfortunately, you're not allowed to do your own race, are you? So Tartan, I'd love to be able to do Tartan Warrior, but that might be frowned upon slightly if I designed the course and planned it all, then I just rocked up and ran my own race.
It would actually be quite good. I mean, you came into the Scottish series, fourth in the UKOCR series. Yeah, into the Scottish series, you've come in as one of the favourites. You went up to McTuff, you get a run for your money. Now, I spoke to Russell the other day, and he tells me that he was leading you, but you were close. He says you and him were very, very close for a lot of the time. And then he went over this particular wall and didn't know where to go. So we actually had to wait for you to come and overtake him again. Yeah,
there was a lot of that. We were... Yeah, I don't want to say too much.
No, but you must have felt then at that point. I'm not saying this is in a bad way. I'm saying this is in a good way. Is that you actually helped him out? You helped a fellow runner find his way around a course.
Yeah, there was a couple of times. Yeah, I do. Now you say that, there was once or twice where I said like Russell was like, I said, because I'd done McTuff before. He had, and it was a similar. I mean, some of the parts of the course are very similar year on year. So I did say to him, "Oh, I think it's left here." Or I think it's right, because if people have probably alluded to, the markings weren't the best at times, and Ross and I ended up doing the rigs at McTuff twice, because we did them in reverse first, and we knew we were lost. We were like, we just went on to these rigs, and we're like, we don't know where to go, and then eventually we got back on course, and it actually all worked out fine then, because we were sitting in first and second when we got lost. And we ended up finishing first and second, so it was a fair outcome. It would have been a bit tricky if we'd finished like 9th and 10th, having been quite well ahead. It might have been quite frustrating, but thankfully it worked out in the end. But yeah, the likes of Russell, God, he's like a gazelle running over those. The rough terrain seemed to suit him really well. There were some really rough, gnarly bits. We couldn't get. I'm a better kind of free flowing runner over kind of firm ground. That's that's probably from my track background and stuff and roads and stuff. So I don't necessarily enjoy the kind of really gnarly stuff as much. So yeah, he was excellent. So it'd be good. It'd be good to meet him again. Like, really good competitor.
Well, he's told me he's going to every race. He's going to every race in the Scottish Series. So, irrelevant to whoever's turns up, you've got a good runner there running next to you to give you something to aim at.
Yeah. No. I don't think I'll be going. In terms of my races, I'll be doing McTuff again in May. Their summer McTuff, and I'll be doing Beach Ballistic. And then the only other option for me is to do the Tough Mudder Infinity. But I'm not. I don't run. That's 8 hours, isn't it? I'm not. I'm not going to be training for that. My training is going to be focused towards the High Rocks World Championships at that point. So I'm not going to be deviating and doing like massive long runs to train for Tough Mudder when I've got the High Rocks World Champs like just the month before or something like that. So yeah. So anyway, that's my game. I'm giving my game away here, Alan. I'm just telling everybody what I'm doing. Like they could, it might come back to bite me.
This is what I'm good at, getting everyone's story out. This is what I'm good at. I get everyone to tell me all the secrets. Ian tells me that all the time. He says people just tell you stuff. Oh, I don't know why. I ask the question.
And then we forget.
Just want to quickly touch on.
Oh no, we're both talking on. You go.
I was going to say, just quickly touching. Then you talked about from a track background to going like over rough terrain. I've got a friend who comes from a track background, and he really struggles to run on serious rough terrain because when he ran track, he ran with his feet very, very close to the floor. Where now he has to lift his feet up. Are you conscious of that changing that running style?
I mean, anybody that careers down a mountain at high speed is going to be a little bit nervous. I guess. I mean, I've done in more recent years. I've done more off-road trail stuff than I have track. Right. I've not done track stuff for a long time, but I think there's still a part of me which is I'm at my quickest when I'm on flat terrain. And that's my strength when I'm up against other people. Coming down a mountain, I'm not too bad. There's some guys who really just cut loose and like just let their legs go. So yeah, I've probably become I'm not as game. Not game's not the word, but I'm probably not as cavalier as I used to be. Right. I guess that comes with age. You grow fears a little bit more. As you get older, and whether that's having a fear of like properly hurting yourself, and when you've got small children, I think that I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but when you have kids, I think there is a slight fear of really hurting yourself when you've got young kids, and then also I damaged my ankle really badly about 2.5 years ago, tore a ligament and partially tore another one. And I've been told by the surgeon and stuff it will never heal. So if you ever see me running, you'll see that I run with an ankle brace on, and that's the only thing that keeps me running, because I was going to get reconstruction surgery. I was really close to getting it. Then somebody recommended this really good ankle brace, and I went from not being able to run the length of my garden without pain in my ankle, and then I got this ankle brace, put it all on. And then I ran up Ben Lomond, one of the Munros, ran up and down Ben Lomond the next day, 3 hours on mountains, just because I've got this brace. So as long as I've got that ankle brace, I can keep doing all the different terrains. But because I've hurt my ankles really badly before, I guess when you're going down really rough terrain, it gets in your head a little bit, that feeling of like of your ankle almost breaking, so that can get in your head. So that was a long answer to a short question.
What brand is it? What brand is the brace? 'Cause I'm always interested in things like this.
It's called Trilock. Trilock, because it comes in 3 parts. God, I can't remember the name of the actual company now. But yeah, if you were to look up Trilock ankle brace, I recommend it to a lot of people. I'm sure there's other brands out there, but I recommend it to a lot of people. Anytime I hear somebody's got ankle issues and unstable ankles, then I'm like, this one's great because it doesn't give you blisters. You can run with it. It's a bit like Andy Murray. If anybody watches tennis and they see Andy Murray seems to wear, I think he wears these ankle braces on both ankles, and it looks very similar to Andy Murray style ankle bracing.
Right.
So that'd be my recommendation if anybody has ankle issues, stability issues, ligament issues and stuff, and they want to still be able to run, then it might just be the ticket for them.
Cool. I'm going to look at them myself. I have ankle issues. You quickly mentioned a bit of running up and downhill. Let's talk Tartan Warrior a bit. So are we going to get a lot of elevation at Tartan Warrior, first of all?
Not massively. I'll give the straight answer. It's the terrain. It's not going to be completely flat. But compared to if there's seasoned runners coming who have done Spartan races in Wales and stuff like that, where there's been 3,000 feet of elevation, etc., it's not going to be that. It's going to be around mostly fields. There is going to be some hills. There'll be some burns, as we call them. That's streams for your English listeners. But there will be some water, and there'll be. We're kind of going to utilise a particularly wet section, and we hope it's not going to dry up too much. We want a wee bit of wetness, so we've got a bit of a mud zone as well. So it's not going to test the mountain runners or the hill runners too much. But it'll be good. It'll be quite varied. Some little trails as well, but mostly kind of around the fields.
Cool. So it's going to happen on 26th of March. Let's get a date out there. Tell people what the date is.
So we better say it's on the 25th and 26th of March.
Right.
So it's a 2-day event. So the main day, I guess, the bigger day is on the 26th, Sunday the 26th. But prior to that, on the Saturday, the day before, we've got the 3K and 100 meters.
Wow.
Now, these are predominantly going to be for competitive people. There is going to be a fun wave. There is a fun wave for the 3K, but the kind of main one of the main aims around the 3K and 100 meters is to give people a qualifying opportunity to represent Team UK at the European and World Championships in both the 3K and 100 meters. So the quality of the field should be hopefully quite high. We've got some really good runners already signed up for the 3K and 100 meters. But we could definitely, if I give a shout out, we could definitely do with getting some more people on board for that. And it also means you can turn it into a bit of a trifecta weekend potentially. Tartan Warrior trifecta. You could do the 3K and 100 meters on the Saturday, and you could be doing our kind of 8K or 5K on the Sunday.
So let's go 3K first then, Gavin. How many obstacles are we going to see on a 3K course?
3K is going to have about 25 obstacles.
Wow, that's a lot on 3K. So what are you looking at? Are we looking at some basic ones, I guess? You tell me. I've got crawls and...
Yeah, there will be some... you've got things like crawls and walls and balance beams, and there'll be 1 or 2 carries. And then there'll be 1 or 2, I guess, obstacles which are just unique to us. Nothing too adventurous on that. It's not like we've been into the lab and created something that's Tough Mudder size. But yeah, there's a few that I guess are more unique to us. And then of course going to be some rigs. So more technical obstacle. We'll have basic monkey bars, but we'll have a low rig. We'll have a multi rig. We'll have things like ninja rings. There'll likely be a room as well. So yeah, a lot of those obstacles will feature the next day as well. But the 3K, we'll probably look to make the 3K slightly more technical than the race the following day, because it is meant to be, giving people opportunity to qualify for the European and Worlds. So we might choose some slightly more technical rig attachments and stuff, but nothing too crazy. I'm not, I really don't want like a high failure rate, and we want a fast free flowing race. We're not like a massive race with many lanes. Most obstacles will have 2 lanes, but we don't have like multi lanes. So we're trying to keep things free flowing and avoid too many failures. And then of course it'll depend on the weather a little bit. Like if we know the weather's going to be super wet, like we're not going to make the rig attachments too crazy if it's going to be wet and stuff. So yeah, we'll keep our finger on the pulse.
Cool, that sounds good. And what about size of waves? Are you looking at doing small waves, several small waves, or are we going big waves? What's the plan that way?
The game plan for the 3K will be to do small waves, a bit like if anybody's been to the European or World Champs, when they're doing the short course race, they send people off in sometimes just small groups of 6 or 8, and we'll be doing similar. So people will go off with people in their own age group, so they're very much aware of those are the people they're racing against, and groups. I think it'll be groups of 6 we're looking at, set off every 2 minutes. Again, we don't want trying to avoid bottlenecks and fast free flow races. So that's the game plan.
That sounds good. I like that. Groups of 6 over 3K. That's quite good. And we are talking just one lap at this, aren't we? We're not talking Spartan Elite Series of 3K where you have to do 3 laps of 1K. We're talking one straight up 3 lap, aren't we? Yeah,
one lap. The great thing about our course up at the farm for any distance is very spectator friendly as well. So you'll be able to almost see the runners. You can almost stand still in one spot and see the runners for the entire 3K, which is really good. So yeah, just one lap.
Wow, I like that. But some events do what I would call like flowers. So you go out, come back, go out, come back. Is yours like that, or is it like lanes that you just go up and down type of thing? Where are you going with it?
Yeah, similar idea. A flower. I've heard people talk about a clover idea. Yeah. No, that's the aim. There will be parts where runners go out and do obstacles or do a hill or something. But the great thing is again you'll be able to visually see them going out all the way and coming back, and then they'll go out again and back. So yeah, there is an element of that for sure, and that works well again for spectators and clustering obstacles together. So we'll create just like any of the good races, like they tend to put maybe 3 or 4 obstacles in the same area, which makes it good for photographers, good for videographers, good for spectators. So yeah, we'll be doing similar.
I like that. Ram Run was the very first event that did similar to that. You know, everyone I used to do prior to Ram Run, you would literally, as a spectator, you'd probably get to see your partner or whatever you're going to watch run off in the distance, and then you see them do the last few obstacles, and you didn't see anything else in between until Ram Run came along and did the clover petal flower thing, which was the way to go forward. So
no, that suits our venue quite well. So yeah, we're quite well. It's just the way the terrain sits. I guess the actual farm itself sits a little bit higher, and you can kind of see down and out for quite a bit. So yeah, it suits it.
Fantastic. And what about the 100 meters? Are we having a straight line here? What's the plans for the 100 meters?
Yeah, so 100 meters. It will not be a straight line. It just our venue just doesn't allow for that kind of perfect straight line for 100 meters. So it's going to be a little bit kind of like forwards and then quick turn back, forwards, quick turn back. So there's going to be between 6. I think the 100 meters we always aim for between 6 and 10 obstacles. We'll be shooting for 10. I think, let's say between 8 and 10. Yeah. The obstacles themselves, we'll be looking at. I think we're looking at actually potentially starting with a cargo net, and then straight into like a low rig, and then we're looking at probably just a low wall straight into balance beam, so quite fast there. And we might have we're not sure about a rope climb. I don't know if a rope climb is really 100 meter style, so the rope climb might not happen. We need to discussions about that. And then we've got another probably 2 rigs, and we might have a ramp wall to finish. But well, the great thing is we're going to do head-to-heads on the 100 metres, which makes it pretty exciting. It will be, in terms of qualification for Team UK or to see who wins the event, is meant to be just like each person will have 2 goes, and it's your fastest time. If time allows, we might then do a semi-final and final. based on those fastest times. But we just need to see. And we might get. I need to get another. So I bought. People probably saw on social media. I bought a kind of ramp wall from Freestyle OCR down in Hoyk. So I bought some of their obstacles from down the Scottish borders, and they've got a ramp wall. So I would need to potentially get another one built. So I've got 2 ramp walls to have 2 lanes, obviously. But I'm speaking to a joiner just now. I'm working out costs because, as you know, and I'm sure everybody who's been a race director knows, like the costs of putting a race on, even when it's on your own venue, like I'm fortunate in that sense, but the costs are still like very high. So you have to kind of look at things like sensibly. And not like, especially in your first year, you don't want to be like, all right, I'll spend this and spend that, and then before you know it, you're running at a loss or something. So I need to kind of look at the budget to see if I can afford another ramp wall. But yeah, it'll be exciting, and the good thing is it'll be similar to what you get at the 100 meters at like the European and World Champs. It'll be mostly outdoors. So although a lot of the ninjas, they'll love dry obstacles, and love running indoors, you might not always get them. So, the ninjas might have to deal with some wet rigs, which they might not like, but it could be very good training if they go away to Hungary to the European champs or Belgium for the world champs and it rains on that day, then they're going to have to be able to adapt to that. So, it's going to be outdoors mostly.
I like that. I like that whole idea because, like you say, we see the 100 meters at Europeans and that, and they tend to be outdoors, and you don't know what the weather is going to be like at all.
Yeah. But the idea with the 100 meters is you don't. From what I've seen, I mean, I'm not a ninja person, but from what I've seen, the 100 meters isn't about coming up with the most technical rig out there. It's about having good obstacles, fast, free-flowing obstacles, which people can basically go through quickly, and it's the person who works out how to do it the quickest obviously wins, but it's not about people failing obstacles necessarily. It's just about pure speed, pure athleticism, and that's what we're looking for.
Now, knowing that people can qualify for Team UK, how much FOMO are you going to have on that first day?
No, definitely. Because the 3K especially, like that's probably something that is potentially my strength, that kind of slightly shorter distance. It means that I'm now going to have to think, I guess, where's the other qualifying opportunity? It's Spartan in the end of April.
Yeah.
So I need to. I'm going to have to probably travel now, aren't I?
So you need like, as I'm trying to grow a beard and grow my hair, you need a nice wig, clean shaven, just for the Saturday. Let's think of a whole new name.
Just do it in disguise.
That
would be nice. But nah, I'm looking forward to taking on the kind of organizer role as well, because there's a lot of, again, as you'll know, there's a lot of pride you take in putting an event on, and you want everybody to have a great time. And I think we've got a great team as well. And I'm blessed with the volunteers we've got, because I've got quite a lot of members here, and the members are all like, "Yeah, we'll help." So, we should be fine for volunteers and marshals and stuff like that. And then we've got the likes of Lindsay McEwen, who a lot of people know, and Lindsay's. Literally, I just saw Lindsay tonight, and she's doing a rule book, which is really nice of her. So even two months before the event, we've almost got the rule book's almost written. So we've got a good team. So I'm confident we can put on a well organised event. Touch wood.
The rule books are amazing. British Obstacle Sports helped me with Overload last year to help write that rule book, and it was so clear, so concise. We had zero problems. Everyone I think we had one person say something. We just referred them to the rule book. Here's the rule book. And it just ended the whole conversation. It was like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and that's what people want. I think, like, especially, I'm taking it from a competitive runner's perspective as well. Obviously, being one, people want really clear. They just want clarity on rules, and they want to know what's expected of them ahead of time. And we like to give that so people get plenty of notice about what's involved, what's required. But at the same token, we of course on the Sunday we've got a lot of fun runners coming too. So I've been really not surprised, but it's been great to see how many non-competitive people we've got signed up for the Sunday, which is going to be our kind of bigger day with more. I guess a bigger atmosphere in the Sunday. The Saturday is going to be more about, I guess, the competition, and that's what people are coming for. And the Sunday is going to be you're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of energy, DJ playing. We've got Hamish the Highland Cow coming, because our mascot, if you like, is a Highland cow. So on our logo, so we've actually got a Highland cow coming, so the kids will love that, I'm sure. Face painting and all that stuff. So Sunday should be a good fun one as well.
Is Hamish a male cow or a female cow? Because Hamish is a man's name, but I'm going to guess that it's actually going to be more of a cow rather than a bull.
I think I'm gonna have to just stay quiet on that one because people might get a bit confused by the name and the gender, let's say. But let's just say it fits nicely because my son's name's Hamish. So let's just say we might just be giving the Highland Cow a nickname just for the day. Because my son's favourite story, or one of his favourite storybooks, is Hamish the Highland Cow. So he's only 4 years old, and so I thought we'll just call this Highland Cow that's coming to Tartan Warrior. Let's call that cow Hamish, even if that's not his real name. For that one day only, it will be Hamish the Highland Cow.
So there are two listeners that listen to this. Yeah, these are the two listeners. We won't get them all. Please ignore. It's Hamish for the day.
Yeah, but there might not be anything hanging between Hamish's legs in terms of.
That's the best way to put it. I like that.
A castrated cow.
Yeah. Will you have any Highland games or anything there on the Sunday, or is it just going to be Australia OCR? Because I know you're a bit of a fan of like the games. I'm being told, So we did this little bit of research from me. The Scottish University Games, you actually did 17 events in 3 hours. Is that right?
Oh, you have done a bit of research. Yeah, I did. I did tell this story on I think Ian's podcast a good while ago. So just real quick. That was actually tracking games.
Right.
I did 17 events at the Scottish University Championships. And didn't do well in any of them, but I got lots of small points, and my team, Stirling University, ended up winning the team title at Scottish Universities. So that was one of my crazier moments. If you're talking about Highland Games, though, there is a Scottish Games Association, and you can actually go to Highland Games and do running events at them. So you've got you can do like your events like tossing the caber and stuff like that. Like you've always seen these big strong men doing with their kilts on and tossing things over the bars and whatnot. But there's also running events. So I used to go in my younger years, a group of friends, we used to tour around Scotland and run. It was all grass tracks, and you would run anything between, I usually did somewhere between 400 metres and 2 miles, and you could win money. It was all handicap racing. I don't know if you've ever seen any handicap racing where everybody gets a different starting point.
Yeah.
It's really exciting to watch because you could have a guy who runs for Scotland against a 70-year-old woman who's, obviously our best years are behind her. But that guy that runs for Scotland might start like with let's say it's a 1,500 metre race. He might have 1,500 metres to run. And let's say the 75-year-old lady has 700 metres to run. So, but during that race, you watch them go round and round, and you can just see the Scottish internationalist gaining on this 75-year-old great granny, and the crowd are like, "Oh, is he going to catch her? Is he going to catch? Oh no, the great granny's won it. She's taken the title." Type things. it's a great the running the Highland Games is a great for a spectator because you can basically anybody can win because everybody gets a different start point. The faster the runner you are, the further you have to go. But it makes it really good, exciting racing. So anyway, back to your question. No, we don't. There's no plans to do any caber tossing or anything like that at Tartan Warrior. Not this year. I do like the idea though because it does fit nicely with Tartan Warrior, doesn't it? Maybe in future years we could have a little mini Highland Games going on as well.
I was thinking, it's a long way for people down south to come. I know you do a lot of travelling. People going up there. You can have an amazing weekend. Like you said, you've got 2 events on Saturday for the competitive runners. You've got one on Sunday as well for competitive runners, but you're also having the fun element on the Sunday as well. I like the old idea. It's very close. Is it actually Easter weekend that week? It's very close to Easter weekend as well, isn't it?
I think it's the weekend before Easter weekend, I think. It's definitely not Easter weekend, which is probably a good thing because that might clash. The schools haven't broken up yet by that point. So yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it clashes with too much in the calendar, and we have got quite a good contingent coming up from down south, which is great. And I think the fact that we do have 3 races that people can it becomes, I guess, more worthwhile to do that. Or we've got on the Sunday, like you mentioned, we've got the 8K, which is our kind of competitive race, and our male wave, our male competitive wave it's sold out. So if anybody still wants to do it, then they can send me an email and I'll add them to a waiting list. But the men's competitive wave in the Sunday, the 8K is sold out. We've got 31 competitive females. The waves of 50, by the way.
Right.
So it's great to have 31 competitive females signed up. We certainly can take a few more. And then our other competitive wave, we're actually doing a competitive wave for 9 to 12-year-olds. Because at the European and World Champs, there's going to be, I'm pretty sure they're actually taking kids as young as 10, I think.
Yeah, I've heard 10, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, our wave is for 9 to 12-year-olds for the competitive. So we could do with some more 9 to 12-year-olds in the competitive wave, for sure. But that's probably the only wave that we're kind of lacking a little bit. Everything else is for the Sunday anyway, is pretty full up.
Are you doing a slightly older wave as well, like a 13 to 15, or are they going to go into the adults?
Good question. Sorry, I didn't mention that. The 13 to 17-year-olds, they'll go in with the adults. Right. Okay, because a lot of guys I'm aware, like say, you know Finlay Greenleaf,
yeah,
and likes of Libby Joyce. These people are coming, but they've already said they want to be racing against the adults. They don't want to have a wave with just 3 or 4 13 to 17-year-olds in it. So the 13 to 17-year-olds will be in with the adults. There will be, I think we're going to do a separate prize for them.
Yeah,
there will be a separate prize for them, but they'll get the opportunity to go head to head with the adults.
And I know definitely Libby wants to run with adults because she sees that as a challenge. She wants to be the best, And I mean this, and I know Libby listens to these, and she knows how I feel about her. She's an absolute amazing athlete. She wants to be the best. So in her eyes, she has to compete with the best. Yeah, she knows that she's not going to go and potentially podium in the overall rankings, but she's going to get damn close to podiuming. And she wants to podium in an age group 100%. She wants to be the best in the UK, and she's got the right attitude to do that. A lot of time for Libby, I have.
Yeah.
And she showed me up running. Yeah, she showed me up running the other week round. We did a 20-mile round Edale, and she showed me up as well. So she knows I've got a lot of time for her.
Yeah, no, she's fast, and even she came up to McTuff, and I think she unfortunately got lost during that. But she's pushed a lot of these top girls. Give it, especially the top UK girls. I think give it another year, if that, and she'll be right up there, like potentially at the top in the next year or two. Because she's pushing them. She's pushing them already.
And Finlay's absolutely dominating. The lads section into. And not just in the longer distances, doing it in the shorter distances as well. He's really coming on the rigs and the short distances. He could potentially be a dark horse, I guess, maybe to watch on the 3K or the 100 meters. Do you think?
I potentially have seen some of his rig skills. Absolutely, and yeah, he's doing all. I believe he's doing. I'm pretty sure he's doing all 3 races. I'm pretty sure Libby's doing all 3 races. Yeah, so no, it'll be great to have them. And there's some other kids coming too that are likes of Lauren MacArthur. So she's one of our kids. She won the 10 to 13-year-old age group at the British Junior Champs.
Right.
And she's now moved. I think she's now 14. So anyway, she'll now be in the same age group as Libby. So she's a couple of years behind Libby, but she's got that. I've never met a person that is as competitive as her and has especially a typical teenage girl. That's unfortunately when a lot of teenage girls move away from sport and follow sport. She's so driven and so competitive. It's like that. She's got the mindset of a Olympic champion almost. So I'll be interested to see if Lauren, as the years go on, if she pushes to change that. I know she wants to be part of Team UK for the World and Europeans, which is great because she's one of these sports people. She plays lots of different sports, so I guess it's who gets her. So yeah,
talking about
should be a good battle.
Talking about a little bit on that. We'll just quickly talk about it before I let you go. Do you think Scottish OCR has probably got a bigger foothold in sport in Scotland than OCR has got a foothold in sport in England?
Oh, that's a hard question. I
say this. I'll give you my reason why I say it.
Yeah,
I see a lot. I see Scottish OCR growing. I see it growing so quick. You guys in the community up there, one post goes up and all of a sudden there's 30, 40 people commenting on it and hundreds and hundreds of likes. Down here in the UK, and we are predominantly English based, although we have everyone from all over the world in ours, a post can go up and it doesn't always get the same interaction as it does in the Scottish community. Yeah. And that tells me... go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess that's maybe partly down to just having a smaller country as well. I guess you can maybe say there's a tighter community in Scotland in terms of everybody knows everybody type thing as well. But yeah, I mean, I can probably just mainly speak for people in my vicinity, whether that's Fit Body Farm, whether that's SBF, Scott Brown Fitness, whether it's the guys up at the name's going out of my head now, but ultimately there's a good kind of core group of people, and everybody seems to know everybody in that sense, and we're certainly doing our best to grow it. Having a lot of kids training on and stuff. So it's just whether kids want to go down the route of choosing OCR over football. Because we do get some talented kids, but they don't always believe that they belong in the competitive side of it. And that's maybe a reason we could do with more 9 to 12-year-olds. We've got a lot of 9 to 12-year-olds taking part in the fun waves, which is great. But yeah, there's maybe that bit of wrestle still with other sports. Does a boy choose to play football on a Saturday morning, or does they choose to do OCR? You're up against it, but we can get boost the numbers for sure.
100%. I do see it growing. I'm going to let you go, but before you go, you are free to talk for as long as you want, promote anything you want, Gavin, like all my guests do. So I'm going to give you fire away. You have free reign. Take over the podcast.
I think folk have heard enough of my voice, to be honest. I don't have much else to say, guy. Alan, really just obviously, if I purely focus on Tartan Warrior, if people want to get on board, we've got just less than 2 months till event day. The tickets, especially for the Sunday, are almost sold out. So we don't have a website as such. The easiest thing to do is just Google Tartan Warrior and it'll come up in Entry Central, and you'll be able to find it. I've done it myself, and you'll find it there. Whether you want to sign up for the Saturday or the Sunday. give it a look. And yeah, we just can't wait to have a race at the farm. It's something which I've always known we really need to do. It's pulling the trigger on these things because, as a race director, you've always got a slight fear of, something going wrong, or you're putting yourself out there for potential criticism, because you see other people getting criticised all the time. So yeah, I'm glad that we're doing it, and I'm confident we've got a great team behind us, and I'm just excited to have people along.
It sounds amazing. I'm going to be in Edale that weekend because it's my birthday weekend. So I'm going to be in Edale, but I am going to be glued to social media to hopefully see some videos of what's happening, especially on the Saturday for the 3K and the 100 meters. I'm really keen to watch some of those elites. So whatever you do, get Hamish with a camera, and teach him at 4-year-old to go film for us all.
Yeah, we'll get. I'm sure that probably Instagram's where it's going to end up happening, I guess, in terms of just little clips and stuff. I know Jack Carpenter is going to do some filming as well. He's already talked about that, which is great. We've got a videographer coming along. That's more than the Sunday. So yeah, we'll definitely get plenty of footage out there and try and get the results out as soon as possible as well.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining me today, Gavin. It's been a pleasure speaking to you as always, and you have spoken absolutely eloquently.
Thank you. I hope everyone understood me.
So there you go, me and Gavin having a chat, Tartan Warrior. Enjoyed that. Enjoyed that coming on. Didn't just speak really well for a Scottish person, and I mean that in the nicest possible sense. But when he said that he had elocution lessons earlier on, or his mum taught him, I was like, yeah, you do actually speak quite well. So yeah, me and Gavin. I'm going to let you all go, but just want to give a quick shout out. If you are listening to this on a Monday, you listen to our podcast normally on a Monday when they come out, you're actually missing a trick, because if you joined our Patreon, you could actually listen to them on Saturdays or Sundays sometimes, and the Swift Half potentially on a Thursday as well. So yeah, from now on, all our patrons are going to hear all our episodes a little bit early. So if you want to do it, the link's in the description. The minimum is £2. You can pay up to £6. But join our Patreon team, help us going, and everything else. It does help. Next week I'll give a shout out to all the patrons as well, because we have got a new one, which we did mention on the Swift Half as well. So yeah, thank you for listening, everyone. I am going to go because I'm still not very well. Take care. Speak soon. Love you all. Bye.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.